Fire season arrives early in the heart of Custer County cattle country, an area that's had a number of fires in recent years, suffers more. Straight ahead, we look at the response and aftermath, plus tapping into the latest research in crop production, how the university's TAPS program can help your farm. And a busy weekend policy news, we see the latest on the Trump administration's impact on agriculture. And later, the tree people celebrate a champion tree of their own. Just how big is it? Stick around to find out. It's time to grow. Hundreds of acres of pasture ground burns in Custer County. We kick off Grow tonight with team coverage, starting with NTV's Emma Leak.
An onlooker described seeing and smelling large amounts of smoke for the fire west of Lillian and north of Broken Bow as the National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for the area. According to the city of Broken Bow, emergency crews from all area fire departments were called in to respond to multiple fires across the area beginning on Monday and working through the night. During the response to the Lillian fire Monday, a fire truck rolled into a canyon, injuring 2 firefighters. Both firefighters were taken to the hospital, with one taken to CHI Good Samaritan in Kearney. Leah Peterson, a rancher from around the area and executive director of the Nebraska Grazing Lands Coalition, says she's paying close attention to the recent round of fires.
Well, I'm just here to be an encouragement and prayer warrior for those who are out there and dealing with this, and of course pay attention to what's going on back on the home front.
According to Peterson, many ranchers in the area are wary of wildfires and have emergency plans in place as the area remains dry despite some of the recent snow. With calving season coming up, Peterson expressed concerns over protecting pasture land amidst dangerous fire conditions, which caused the death of a man during a wildfire in Broken Bow in December.
These wildfires have been growing to unmanageable sizes where you got to call in help and support to manage them well.
Peterson also expressed gratitude for the emergency response teams who are working on scene, emphasizing the community response in times of emergency.
I can't say enough how much we appreciate these volunteers who are willing to put their lives on the line to help protect their own interest and the neighbors and anyone they don't even know when they came from afar.
If it seems the wildfire season is getting longer, experts agree. We continue our team coverage with Jack Bartlett.
On Tuesday, 8 separate fires merged into 2 larger incidents, according to Custer County Emergency Management. These wildfires impacted over 6,000 acres of land, which leaves many in the area feeling worried.
Custer County is a really tight-knit area, and everybody knows everybody. So when you hear about a new fire in a location that you might know someone, it's very scary.
A conservationist also warned Nebraskans about how climate change is affecting these wildfires in our fire season months.
We're seeing these unseasonably warm days happening early every year. We're looking at late February and it's almost 60 degrees outside and we have 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. So, I've been telling folks that in Nebraska, a traditional fire season used to be between, June to October. Now we're looking at February all the way into November or December. So essentially we're not having fire seasons anymore, we're having fire years.
Wildfires present unique challenges to agriculture, different than they would be in an urban landscape. Farms and ranches often have multiple buildings, haystacks, fuel storage tanks, livestock, limited water access, distant fire departments, and are in close proximity to fuel loads. Sooner or later, most farms and ranches will be faced with approaching wildfire. It's something you want to think about long before fire's headed towards your property. Oklahoma State Extension suggests contacting your insurance agent to see what your policy covers. For example, are wildfire damages covered, and what about hay storage, solar pumps, fences, equipment, and outbuildings? What about livestock killed by fires? And what if you need emergency forage? Know where to find the latest news and local updates from NTV as well as your fire department. And check frequently during a wildfire event as the situation can change rapidly. Make sure to have important phone numbers readily available. Fire department, county sheriff, and neighbors. Recommended emergency evacuation priority list is people first, prescriptions, important documents, personal needs, keepsakes, and valuables. Keep an emergency supply kit and other valuables in your vehicle. Call for emergency assistance, but remember, emergency response resources may be limited or tied up at other sites. Switching gears, the EPA announces E15 will be available this year in the Midwest. The Environmental Protection Agency has confirmed its intent to uphold the current April 28, 2025 implementation date for year-round access to E15. Nebraska is among 8 states that have been fighting a summertime ban on the higher ethanol blend. Last year, the EPA issued its final rule, a significant win for Nebraska and other ethanol-producing states, according to Governor Jim Pillen, who said, quote, Nebraska is in a leading position to reap the benefits of E15, both from the production as well as the consumer side. This is a significant step forward in growing our state's ag and biofuels economy, end quotes. Senator Deb Fischer and Congressman Adrian Smith continue to make the case for a legislative fix to allow nationwide year-round E15. From welding to agronomy and sales, kids take what they've learned on the farm and in the classroom and put it to work. From natural resources and poultry to
floriculture and food science.
Career development events put kids to the test.
We're both in ag sales. I'm in vet science.
And I'm in food science.
These tend to be our more like practical, hands-on focused contests, so things like agricultural sales, welding, vet science, floriculture. So students testing knowledge in a lot of these, but also then there's like a hands-on practicum portion where they have to demonstrate or do something as well.
Teachers say the beauty of career and technical education is that it combines both the classroom knowledge and hands-on application while exposing kids to careers in agriculture.
The production ag side of it is such a small part of our world today, and the growing, business side, science, especially the research, just finding ways to feed our growing world population with limited resources or smaller inputs, making it more economical and efficient. It takes a lot of different moving pieces.
For vet science, my team has made it the past 3 years to state, so it's been my goal since freshman year, make it all 4 years for vet science. So if I don't make it my senior year, I'm gonna be very upset.
Teachers say exposure to careers through these contests often opens kids' eyes. Why do you like welding?
I find it soothing. I find it very fun. I like really being the only girl in my class that can weld, and I just find therapy in it, I guess.
Up next, the state FFA convention, now just over a month away in Lincoln.
Minden FFA hosted an Ag Appreciation Breakfast to celebrate National FFA Week. I'm Deanna Kurtenbach for NTV News, and I headed out to the Kearney County Fairgrounds to check out the celebration.
Yeah, so FFA week was technically last week, but with being state wrestling, I was gone, so we did this week. And this week we did our contest CDE events over in Hastings, and then yesterday we did an Ag Olympics with the 8th graders to try and recruit some students for next year.
FFA advisory Macy Ortle said this event is for giving back.
Our community is so giving and supportive of our program, and we want to show them that we appreciate and we recognize everything that they do for us. So we just want to thank everyone in the Minden community for all their support of the Minden Ag and FFA chapter.
Hannah Donnelly is the Minden FFA chapter president and knows firsthand how much the community backing this program means to local students.
FFA has completely changed my life. In 8th grade, when the Minden FFA chapter first got restarted, I didn't know anything of what I was going to do or what I was interested in. FFA has brought me to my sheep production project that has brought me so many new opportunities, and FFA has taught me so many new life skills like teamwork, leadership, and communication, and it has really just brought me to a family and community that I love.
National FFA is held in February every year to provide an opportunity for members and supporters to help celebrate future leaders in agriculture.
Later, the folks who provide trees for shelter belts and windbreaks have a champion tree of their own on their own property. We'll see just how big this cottonwood is. Up next, we talk to Nebraska Extension about how TAPS can help your farm. Well, kind of in a contest format, producers make a decision and seeing how they stack up against each other. That's how the UNL TAPS program works. Chuck Burr, extension educator. Chuck, I've been out there a number of times. I've seen picked out seed. I've made those decisions. It's kind of getting to be that time.
Yeah, we're planning for 2025. We got quite a few people signed up already. We are expanded more to the eastern end of the state this year. So last year we had an irrigated soybean competition at our NREC facility by me, just north of Lincoln. Yep. This year they'll get to make the irrigation decision as well. Last year we didn't have that opportunity. And then we're adding an irrigated corn competition at NREC as well, and make irrigation nitrogen and hybrid and other types of decisions as well. So yeah, exciting to expand across the state and get more involvement.
What's really neat, especially if you're for those who maybe are not familiar, like for myself, I picked out the hybrid. They all go in the same field in North Platte together, but you make wildly different decisions in terms of irrigation and fertilizer. That book then you put out at the end of the year, that report, it's pretty enlightening.
It's really interesting. Our participants call that report at the end of the year the Bible, because it's got tons of information in it that they can glean from, read, and kind of reflect on themselves and see if that applies to their operation. I actually talked to a couple people that have not participated in TAPS, never been to one of our banquets or field days or anything. They read the report and they make changes on their operation just by reading the report.
And I know some guys I've talked to who have been part of it who maybe weren't necessarily comfortable with one of the technology components, and then they tried one of those and they go, oh my goodness, I can't believe I wasn't using this. I need to use this on my acres back home. So it's kind of cool when they are able to take what they've learned and put it to use even on their own fields then.
Yeah, we did a survey a couple of years ago, an interview after their first season as a TAPS participant, and 75% said that they have adopted new technology, at least on a trial basis, on their farm as a result of being in TAPS. So yeah, they're taking that next step, adopting it, trying it out at home, and when it works at home, expand it to all their acres.
You look at all the pressure we're under to manage water and to deal with that nitrate issue. This is kind of the real world proving ground to see how you can do on some of that.
Well, and this is the place to do it. Try something new on the TAPS field. If it doesn't work out for you, so what? You didn't win the award. At least you didn't lose the money at home. Get comfortable with these TAPS equipment, sensors, technology, aerial imagery. Try it out on the TAPS field. If you feel comfortable there, take it home and try it there as well.
If you want to learn more about it, you can go to taps.unl.edu. That's a pretty good one, right?
Taps.unl.edu is our website. There's a media library tab there. You can pull the reports from the last 8 years there, so see what's been done over the years, as well as taps@unl.edu. Send me an email. We'd be glad to get you signed up for one of our competitions. No cost to compete, and our winners get like $1,500 to $2,000 for winning one of our awards. So there's money in it for you, and I know that's not a lot of money in farming, but maybe you can take your spouse or your family out on a vacation.
Hey, and even the banquet's a good time, but I've got that website bookmarked that I check off and is a great resource. Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Our Grow Weather Outlook is next.
Well, this week's drought monitor came out, and as you can imagine, with how dry it's been, not a whole lot of improvement. In fact, Nebraska pretty much the same. Kansas actually getting a little bit worse here across the last week or so. Take a closer look now at the state of Kansas, where the drought category now stands about 28%. Abnormally dry now stands about 72%. Both of those about a 6% reduction compared to last week's drought monitor report. Meanwhile, moderate drought now stands about 24.75%, roughly a 3.25% reduction compared to last week's report. Good news is still no severe, extreme, or exceptional drought across Kansas, but things look not as great up here in Nebraska. We have just 1.61% of the state in the no drought category. Abnormally dry, still about 98.4%. And really not a whole lot of change at all across Nebraska. Moderate drought still stands about 90.75%. Severe drought still stands about 47.75%. Extreme drought still roughly 8.36% to be precise. But the good news is still no exceptional drought, although northwestern parts of the state could definitely use some rain, and really has the rest of us could on top of that. March temperatures, as far as those goes, remains unchanged from last week. Our report here still indicating relatively average temperatures for all of Nebraska, a good chunk of Kansas, maybe southern and western parts of Kansas seeing slightly above average temperatures for March. As far as precipitation goes, looking at pretty average totals for all Nebraska, most of Kansas, maybe slightly below normal totals for the southwest part of Kansas. Meanwhile, the next 3 months, again, this remains unchanged from last week as well. Most of Nebraska, really all of Nebraska and most of Kansas, expecting pretty average temperatures. Maybe the southwesternmost sliver there of Kansas gets in on some slightly above average temperatures. As far as precipitation goes, still the same compared to last week too. Eastern parts of Nebraska and Kansas closer to normal. However, the rest of us may be looking at either slightly below or well below normal totals, unfortunately. So this drought that we're seeing may not be getting any better anytime soon, although there are some precipitation chances in the forecast here on the horizon. Your Grow Almanac for the week, normally see a high right around 47. Normal low stands right around 25, running a little bit warmer, not like this past week where we were well above normal. 52 the week had average high. The average low this next week right around 32, that freezing mark. So good to see some warmer temperatures out there. We'll stay on the mild side here this next week as well, starting off on the mild side here this week. And again, 50s for us for our Monday. And again, as we begin the month of March, looks fairly normal, a bit warmer towards the tail end of the week. Maybe a couple of precipitation chances. Again, our next one may be coming around again even tomorrow into Tuesday. Gotta watch late Tuesday, maybe some rain transitioning over to some snow. Still some uncertainties there, but again, maybe just keep an eye on the forecast. But middle of the week does look pretty nice, especially at Wednesday and Thursday. Your Grow Proverb, we will see some wind this next week too. Winds in March and rains in April promise great blessings in May. Hopefully we'll get some more rain in April than maybe what's forecast in order to get those great blessings in May. Otherwise, that is a look at your Grow Weather Report. Stay tuned next week when once again it'll be time to grow.
It's a tree so big it's one for the record books.
By measurement, it's the largest known eastern cotton tree in the United States and probably in the world.
Coming up, we take you to Wheeler County for a world champion tree. Standing tall on the shores of Piebald Lake, this eastern cottonwood has seen more than a century of Nebraska history. I'm Steve White. Now this tree not only experiencing history, but making history. The largest tree of its kind, possibly in the world. Walking through the brush, we see the tail of the tape.
37. By measurement, it's the largest known eastern cotton tree in the United States and probably in the world.
A living monument, this eastern cottonwood stands ashore of the lake where Alan Bartles spent many childhood days.
Fishing, catching turtles, getting muddy, stuff like that.
Now Alan works for the Lower Loop Natural Resources District, owner of Piebald Lake. Many think of the NRD staff as the tree people.
You guys plant trees, and they're correct on that, and we've been doing that from day one.
More than 100 million planted statewide, providing windbreaks that help keep Nebraska's precious soil in place. This cottonwood came long before those efforts, estimated to be more than a century old, growing into this behemoth.
Yeah, it's big and you notice it, but it's not till you get right up on it that you notice the enormity of this thing. It's just 37.2 feet around, 85 feet tall, and the crown of the tree is 120 feet. It's just giant in every way.
Of 546 national champion trees, it's the only one from the Cornhusker State. Appropriately so, as the cottonwood is the state tree.
As a native Nebraskan, I'm pretty proud of that.
More than a scenic backdrop to a fishing trip, trees are part of the green infrastructure.
Harbors a lot of native insects eating it. Then there are a lot of birds eating those insects. And then, of course, it's providing canopy, shade, and cover to birds, all kinds of mammals, deer and turkey.
Foresters say trees like this make for a cooler, cleaner environment that promotes biodiversity.
And it really is its own little ecosystem.
That's the power of a tree. Settlers once thought of Nebraska as
windy prairies and treeless.
But now it's the tree planting state. And this eastern cottonwood is a survivor that shows the lasting impact of Nebraska's deep roots in conservation.
This place has been special to me since I was a kid, and I know it's special to a lot of other families as well.
Reporting with the largest eastern cottonwood in the world in Wheeler County, I'm Steve White. And this weekend brought the return of Rodeo Grand Island. 2 nights of pro rodeo action as the PRCA action heated up at the Heartland Event Center. Sutton Rodeo is the promoter, and they continue to build the event, so put it on your calendar for next year as they try to showcase top rodeo talents.
We have contestants in every level of barrel racing, bull riding, team roping, steer roping, all the events that contestants here have been in the national finals, and the money they win here in Grand Island, Nebraska counts toward their earnings for the 2025 National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas.
Always a great event here, Rodeo Grand Island. Well, we'll see you back here again next time as we see how agriculture makes Nebraska grow.